Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering daily operations for office users. This webinar will cover how to search for customers, how to schedule an appointment, how to use the work queue, job types, appointment status and visuals, how to update appointment details, and how to use the flag for follow-up feature. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you can get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. Now, if you're working in the office and you're using the desktop version of WEX FSM, you will most likely be searching for customers, adding new customers, and looking at customer profiles as customers are calling in and you're scheduling appointments and doing jobs for them. So when you log in, you will be brought to the schedule page, but on any of the main pages that you can get to from this main navigation at the top left, these main pages will have this area, the customer quick search bar. Now, for customers that are already in your system, you can type their name and search for them here and be able to click on their profile and go to their customer page. If you do not have them in your system yet, you can add them as a customer by clicking the red plus button here. And you have the decision to either make this a commercial customer or a residential customer. Enter a referral source, so you can tag where this customer heard about your company, and then enter in the rest of the information. All of this is pretty self-explanatory. You are able to set a default tax group. Now, normally taxes will be pulled by the zip code of the service location. But let's say that as you're entering this, you know that it needs to be something different than their normal taxes. Let's say for a school or a church where you're offering 0% tax, you can just set that here. And then that way it will take on the default you have set for them rather than what would pull by the zip code. Another pro tip when adding a customer, email is required. So if you don't have an email by default and you try to save, it's not going to let you save. However, let's say your customer does not have an email. They would prefer text message only, or you didn't have time to grab an email and you'll have to get it from them later. You can turn off the requirement for email by clicking opt out of marketing emails and opt out of email notifications. So turning off those will allow you to add a customer without an email. When you're done, you'll click save, and that will then create a customer profile. So let's go to a customer profile page. I will just type in, the customer's name. Click on their name, and that will bring you to the customer profile. On the customer profile page, this is where you are able to see a timeline that has all of the jobs that you do for them. Each of these gray rectangles represent a job. And then you are able to update settings and preferences for each customer from here. All right. Next, let's take a look at how to schedule an appointment. So let's go back to the schedule page. There are two main ways that you can schedule an appointment. The first way is just by clicking new, this red button that says new, and enter in your customer information. If they are already in your system, they will show up down below. If they're not in your system, they will not show up. And you can just add them as a new customer right from here, which will be the same as adding a new customer from the other plus button we hit earlier. The only difference is when you're done adding them from here, it'll take you forward to creating an appointment with them. But for today's example, we're going to use a shortcut here. And this is the second way that you could start creating an appointment. If you know the date, the time, and the technician that you want to send out to the job, you can just click on any of these boxes to schedule. So let's say I want to schedule something for 2 p.m. Eastern for myself, which I'm on the board right here. I'm just going to click on this box. That will then pre-populate the date, the time, and the technician, so I don't have to do that when we get into making the appointment. And we're going to use my customer, Justin Hernandez. We'll select them. And now we're creating the appointment. When you're creating an appointment at the top, it's going to have some helpful information for you. Your customer info with a customer balance. If they owe you money, it might be good to know that before you schedule another job with them. So you can always just check how much money they currently owe you from here. This will be a total balance of all outstanding invoices they have in their system. If the customer changed their phone number or they need to update their, account information, instead of having to go back to your customer page, you can simply click on the edit icon here next to their name. And now we are able to edit the customer details. When you're done, click save and then back to appointment. The job location is where the technician will see where they need to go when this is assigned to them. And they'll also be able to click on the address and get GPS directions out to the location selected. If this customer has multiple locations, you will click the drop down and see those here. We can see that Justin has a couple rental properties, so it is important that you are selecting the proper location because they may have more than one. And then if they have a new address that they need to add, or you need to update a previous address, same thing here. Click the edit icon. And now we can edit or add any addresses that we need. Once you're done, click save and then back to appointment. Job, this is very important. If you want to stay organized and you want everything relating to a job in one place, you will want to manage your job folders from this drop down. If this is a brand new job, maybe you've done jobs with them in the past, but they've been unrelated. This is a new job, a new issue that you're going to go solve for them. You will want to keep this as new job. When I click schedule, it will create a new job folder and put this appointment in that job folder. Then anything else we do for that job will save in that job folder. If this is a callback, however, this is a second visit, let's say. We needed to order a part came in, now it's time to go back to a previous job. You'll want to click the drop down and put this callback appointment in the previous job. Maybe this is a no AC call that we did on the 5th. Now, when this saves, it won't create a new job. It will create a appointment and put it in the previous job. That's how you're going to keep your jobs organized. For today's example, we are doing a new job, so we'll select new job. Job name. It says optional here, but I highly recommend that you name your jobs. That way, in the future, when you need to look back, let's say you go to the customer page and you're looking at a long list of jobs, it will only show you the job number unless you add a job name. So it's really nice when you have job names. You'll see like, oh, this is a no AC call, and this is a furnace install. This is a roof replacement, whatever it is that you do. Otherwise, you're just going to see numbers and you're going to have to go into each job to kind of see what the job was about. So for today's example, let's say this is a service call. And the job type is great for reporting. So if you are setting which type of job it is each time you make one, now when I go to my reports, I can say, how much money did we make last month from service calls? How many repairs did Jeff do last week? You can start really looking into your reporting with a little more detail with the job type filter. So this, let's say this is a service call. And then now since we clicked on the board, it pre-populated the date, the time, and the technician. So those are already done and ready to go. Down below, you have a option to put notes. These are customer facing. This is a great place to put like gate codes if you need to. You can even say, don't let the cats out. Whatever the technician needs to know, these notes will be right at the top of the appointment. And yeah, again, these are not customer facing. So whatever you need to say here is not going to be shown to the customer. It'll just be in the notes of the appointment for the technician. And then finally, we have appointment notifications and reminders. This is going to be notifications that are sent to your customer from your system. And we have scheduled, which means when I hit schedule, it will give a confirmation message just saying that we have scheduled the appointment. And then if you are setting this out, let's say we're scheduling this 30 days from now, we may want to send a reminder. You have the option of 1 week or 1 day prior reminders. And en route, this is going to allow a notification to be sent when your technician says, I'm on the way. So they're going to hit on the way from the mobile app, then start driving out. That's going to send that message to let your customer know your technician is on the way. Confirm who you want to send these messages to. And then when you're ready, click schedule to schedule the appointment. And there we go. We have scheduled an appointment for my customer, Justin. If I hover over the appointment, you can see a snapshot of the job. And if you go up, we can see this has created job 15205 for this service call. If I click on this, this will take me into that job. And now all the details about this job are in here. If my technician is out in the field and they're creating proposals, purchase orders, invoices, taking payments, they're doing stuff, those will reflect in the job here as they're made. Also, if my technician is clocking in and out of the job, it's going to update the status. And this actually comes in very handy for you in the office to know where are my, users currently? What's the status of each of these jobs? And if you look, we're going to go back to the schedule page. I went ahead and set up jobs in different stages. So if you have a job, and actually I need to update this really quick. There we go. So if you have a job that has been scheduled, but nothing else has happened to it, no status has been updated, it will just be the color of the job type. So this is a service call, so this is red. This is an install, so this is green. This is a no AC call, so this is blue, etc. And nothing is happening. So I know that this job has not been worked yet. Now, when your technician marks that they are on the way and en route to the job, you will see moving dotted lines. So I know right now Allison is on the way to this job. Once they get to the job, they will be able to mark that they are at the job doing the work. That will then stop the moving dotted lines and just have a dotted outline. So if you see this dotted outline, you know Caleb here is at the job doing the work. Once a job is completed, your technician will mark the job as complete. It will turn gray. And then if a job is missed, it's past the time and your technician did not clock time on that job, it will just be grayed out. The opacity of the color will be lower. So we can see here's a service call that Dustin either actually missed, and now we have an upset customer because they never showed up, or They did show up, they did the job, but they just forgot to clock in and out. So if you see something that is lower opacity grayed out like this, representing a missed appointment, I might want to reach out to Dustin. Hey, did you do that 10 a.m. Job earlier for Emily? Oh yeah, I did. I'm sorry, but I got there, at this time and I left at this time. If you need to adjust time on a job, all you'll do is hover over the job, go into the job folder, and you'll see a place called actual time. So right here in the appointments section, scheduled time is the time that you scheduled and put it on the board. The actual time is what your technician will clock in and out when they're in the field. But Dustin just forgot. So we're talking to Dustin on the phone. Okay, so what time did you start? Well, I got there at, 10:05. All right. So we're going to add an entry. We want to just change this that they got there at 10:05 and then they left at 11:15. And we're saying that this is the time they were at the job and click save. Once you X out of that, we can now see that that has been updated and we know the job is now complete. So we'll go ahead and change the technician status as well to complete. That way, our records are correct. When we go back to the schedule page, we will see that reflected on the appointment that this has now turned gray. All right. Next, let's take a look at the work queue. So everything we've talked about so far has been scheduling appointments on the dispatch board. These, the date, the time, the technician, they're ready to schedule. The work queue, however, is for draft appointments. Maybe you're talking to the customer that you definitely know you want to go out at a certain point, but you're not sure what date, what time, which technician, there's missing information. It's still good to have those written down so you can look back on them and schedule them later. If you want to create a work queue item, it happens the same way as creating a normal appointment, but then we'll change some options. So let's make so a service request. If you notice in the work queue, you can show all, which are all draft appointments, all work queue items. If you click on service request, these, you don't know the date, the time, or the technician. There's a lot of information missing. Unassigned appointment is going to be, you know the date, you know the time, you're just not sure exactly which technician is going to go out yet. So that's the difference between the two work queue items, service requests and unassigned. To create a service request, we're going to click New. Customer appointment. Let's do our customer, Emily. And then instead of schedule now, which is what you would use to schedule and put it on the dispatch board, we're going to choose service request. Now, for a service request, I don't know the date, the time, the technician. We're going to have to figure that out later. I just want to get this in my draft appointments. But I do need to know roughly the duration that this will be. So let's say it's a normal service call. It's going to be an hour. So I'll set the duration to 1 hour. You can add any notes. This comes in handy when you're trying to remember what this was about later. Notes go here and then click save. Now our service request for Emily Davis is here. If you want to edit a service request, let's say Emily calls you an hour later and it's like, hey, I just got new information about this. Click on the edit pencil. And now we can edit, update, add notes, whatever we need to, and click save. If I want to schedule this, I just click and drag and drop. And now that will schedule it. If I want to unschedule and send something back to the work queue that's already been scheduled, let's say Emily calls and says, you know, I can't do it today, actually. Uh, you're going to click on the appointment. That will open the edit mode. And then you can click cancel unschedule in the bottom left. You have three options. One option is to unschedule. This will take it off the dispatch board and put it back into the work queue. You can then just drag and drop, assign it later. Cancel will cancel this completely, but there will still be a historical record of this saved in your customer timeline. And delete, maybe you made two of the same appointments on accident and you just want to delete one completely. This will delete it and remove all the information about it permanently from your system. So that's up to you on how you would like to use that. All right. Now for creating an unassigned appointment, which means we know the date, we know the time, we're just not sure which technician yet. That is done in the same way. We create a new appointment. Let's do this with Bob. And then we know the date, we know the time. Not sure which technician yet. So we're going to assign later. So right here, click assign later and schedule. And this now will add into the unassigned appointments tab here. So here is our unassigned for Bob. We know that we're going to go out there, you know, between 1 and 2 today. I'm just not sure which technician. I'm going to have to call, you know, see who's ready. Once we have that, then I can just drag and drop that and click save. And there we go. So a lot of versatility. You can schedule appointments on the dispatch board. You can schedule draft appointments to be scheduled later. And that is an overview of appointments. Next, let's take a look at, let's dive a little deeper into job types, and then we're going to move to a job page overview. So we mentioned job types are a way to say what type of job these jobs are, and that helps with reporting. But I do recommend that you set your own custom job types. So to do this, go to settings in the top right, down to jobs and job types. If you are new to WEX FSM and you have not gone here and updated this, you will most likely just have some very generic job types here. But I would come in and click new and enter in all the different types of jobs that you do. And really, what jobs do you want to be able to filter out and view in your reports? So enter that information. You can even set default durations for scheduling. So if I go to schedule well, here, let's look. So if I go to schedule an install, it will automatically set it as a 2-hour event. But if I go to schedule a maintenance call, that will schedule automatically as a 1-hour event. You can update the duration of calls as needed, but these are defaults just to make life a little easier when you're scheduling. So that is job types. Next, let's do a job summary page overview. So to do this, we are going to go and search for our customer, Mary Smith. Every customer page has a way to filter through jobs. And I created a sample job for us to look at. And we're going to search for that job by typing the job number 11918. That just pulls up. And to get into a job from the customer page, click on the job number. If you're working in the office and you're just doing your daily operations, it's good to know every bit of this page. So we're just going to work our way down. Starting at the top left, we've got your customer profile information. If I click on Mary Smith's name, it will refresh the current page that I'm on and take me to her profile. Let's say you want to keep this job open, but you'd like to pop out and look at Mary Smith's page in another tab. This is a pro tip for using WEX FSM in general. If you ever see this little red icon, click on that and it will keep your place on the current tab and open a new tab of that link. So easy way just to kind of pop out, look at Mary Smith's customer page, and then go right back to where you were. We also have a job tracker. So as you complete appointments, proposals, purchase orders, invoices, and payments, you will see the timeline of the job complete at the top. Underneath, we have the job summary section, and this has a lot of great information. You can tell if the job is open, closed, or abandoned. What job type is this? So again, this is a service call, so I'll be able to pull this in my reports when I look at service calls. And the job price. So if this is just a normal job, normal everyday operations, this will start as standard price. If this customer is a maintenance plan customer, they'll have a star next to their name and it will automatically update any job you do for them to the maintenance plan pricing. This is great for customer loyalty. If I'm, your customer and I know that I'm getting 10% off all services in the future just by being a gold maintenance member, uh, this comes in handy. And what your system is doing is automatically adding this so nobody forgets. It's going to automatically apply that pricing strategy. You can also set up pricing strategies to include discounts or add-ons. So we have a friends and family discount, we have a military discount, and I even have an upcharge for after hours. To set your job pricing, you're going to go to more applications, price book, pricing defaults. And everything I talked about, this is where you set that up. So these are all customizable. You just click update the name to whatever you want. And you have the option to make it a -% or +%. So right now I've got 15% discount for friends and family, a 20% discount for military, and add 25% for after hours emergency calls. Whatever you need, you can set those up here and they will be reflected for the job price in the drop down here. So if this is a maintenance plan price, but I want to change it to military discount, once I do that, it will then update my proposals and invoices to put that percentage. You also have flag for follow-up. This is going to be great for any follow-ups for your jobs. There's a lot of different things. There's many different reasons why follow-up is needed, but a very common one, and as an example, part orders. Your technician's out in the field, they don't have the part that they need. You got to order the part, wait for it to come in, go back out. In the hustle and bustle, it's hard to remember every single follow-up, and this is going to help you stay connected to these follow-ups. Click flag for follow-up to add a flag. In this scenario, we need to order a part. So we're going to say that this is a part order follow-up type. And then I like putting the date. So, I could put 5/8, uh, need part, whatever it is, ordered will be here, Monday, and save. This will then add a flag to this job. We can see the big flag banner at the top. And you'll see a flag everywhere. If this has an appointment on the board, you'll see a flag on that appointment. If your technician is looking at this job from the field with the mobile app, they'll see the flag. The flag is very prominent, and once you add the flag, it will be added to the flag list on the job list. If I want to see all of my flags in bulk, I can click on flags in the top right, and that will bring me to a page that allows me to show flag jobs only. And now you can view, manage, update, and complete all flags in your system right from this page. So click on the flag. We can see the information. Once a flag has been completed, mark that as complete and click save. And there we go. You can do that from the job list, which is where we're at right now, but you can also do it directly from the job page. So if I click on follow up required, let's say on 5/15, part installed, job complete, mark the flag as complete and hit save. What's nice too is any edits that are made to these, you see an updated timestamp and the user who updated it, and tap save. So here we go. The job has now been completed, or the flag has been completed. Then you have these little buttons. Each of these, when you click on them, will allow you to see different information. We have calls and notes, any notes that have been part of this job over time. If you have any checklists that are pertaining to this job, you'll see those here. You can also see whether they've been completed. You can click on the PDF icon to view the checklist. And if you want to send the checklist to your customer, you can do that right from here as well. You click that little envelope icon. You can also delete checklists from here. Equipment history, any attachments that have been added, send out review requests, view user allocation, and profit and loss. Now, profit and loss is a very important part of any business. You want to know, how much money did we make on this job? You can see right from here, the revenue will be the total of all invoices. The product costs will come from your price book items. So when I add price book items, it'll pull the cost. And then labor cost will come from your technician. So in the settings, user management, users page, each user you would set a labor cost per hour. When that user then tracks time on the job, it'll pull their labor cost per hour and use that for the labor cost here. Those expenses are then subtracted from the revenue total, giving you a profit. So this is how much we can see for this job that we did for Mary. We made $919.04. Then you have opportunity. And I do get a lot of questions about this, like opportunity for what? What does this mean? Opportunity, if I have opportunity turned off, then this will not be considered an opportunity to be won. Like if I'm doing a bid for a job, I'm creating an estimate for a customer to either approve the work or decline the work. Uh, if this is just a normal everyday job, you're not doing a big proposal, you don't want to see this as an opportunity, you leave this off. If this is an opportunity, turn this on, and then this job will be considered in your close rate. As an example, we'll go to reporting. In reporting, you have a proposals report. So we're going to go to, in the jobs section, proposals. Your proposals report will show you your close rate. Having a higher close rate means you're getting more jobs, completing more jobs. And if you do a lot of commercial work or you're doing a lot of big installs with estimates, proposals, this is a helpful page. However, you need to make sure that you're managing the opportunity option on the job. So if it's turned on, it's considered an opportunity, which right here we see over the last week, we've had three opportunities and we have one of those. So our close rate is 33.33%. Great place, great way to keep track of opportunities. And you would do this from the job level right here. All right. Each section does have appointments and service requests, proposals and financing. Sorry, appointments and service requests will show all appointments. You can have as many individual appointments as you want per job. Proposals and financing, you can create proposals here. Click new to create a new proposal. Click copy to copy a previous proposal. This is huge in time saving. If you know you did the exact same job yesterday, you can just look for that. Maybe you did a mini split install yesterday. It's the same one you're doing today. Click on that. That will copy all the information from your previous document. Make a new document with that previous info for your new customer. Saves a lot of time. I didn't even have to go in and pull anything from the price book. It's just already all preset here. Any edits that you make to a copied document then are new and unique for this customer. We'll go ahead and discard changes there. We also have a purchase order section. You can create purchase orders in your system. Now, you do have to set up your suppliers. If you're interested in doing purchase orders, I recommend going to the Help Center. And you can simply search for help by clicking purchase orders. And then all of our purchase order articles will show up. I recommend the purchase order video course because videos are always nice. And this will teach you how to set up and sell and use the purchase order feature. Then invoices and payments will be where your invoices are and where your payments are. If you send an invoice to the customer, you can always see the last time you sent that by hovering over the timestamp, and it'll give you the date and the time that it was last sent. All right, so that is all the information that we have for today's presentation. I hope you learned something. We're going to move to our Q&A now, but before we do, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Daily Operations for Office Users.